What is going on YouTube? Thank you for checking back in with another TDH upload. You guys can tell that the Jeep is behind me and we are at my shop, but I want to start the video off by apologizing again for the exposure or whatever was going on in my last upload. I was doing a few clips on my cell phone, filming on my iPhone, and for whatever reason, it just came out gnarly. That brightness was so weird, and it did it in my editing software, but I wasn't sure if it was just a rendering issue, that it was rendering out the video clip, and then when I uploaded it, I obviously saw that it was all janked up. So I apologize about that. We are on the DSLR right now with a nice Rode mic, so hopefully everything looks good in this upload. But I'm going to throw in a couple clips real quick of me working on the rock sliders for the Jeep. Now it's gonna jump back to me at the house, and it's not gonna have the tires on it or anything, but I want to throw the clips in that I filmed of me welding the boat slider on, the plating on, and I just went ahead and 45'd these edges right here. I traced out my cardboard template that I'm going to be laying out over these guys to cap the boat sliders. So it's going to jump to those clips real quick, and then it's going to jump back to me in the shop. I will show you guys the cutouts or the cardboard drawings. We will transfer those to the computer, get them drawn up in CAD, and then get them cut on the table. So here's these clips real quick, and I'll see you guys in a second. Alrighty guys, we are back out here yet again working on the Jeep. We've got my girlfriend out here. She's cleaning up all the camping stuff. We are prepping up for Uwari. I know it's only like a month away, 4 weeks, but that time's gonna fly right by, so we're doing all that we can. I wanted to bring this footage to you guys. These are the beauty plates, or the boat slider plates that I'm doing for this little build here. I've got these guys all tacked up, and I did want to check in with you guys and show you this process before I just started welding them out. And then I've also went ahead and cut off this side of the Jeep, as you guys can see. So we're going to need to remove that side, weld this stuff up, and then from there it's going to be lightly sanding down everything, prepping it to lay down some black paint. I'll probably do the same body line up here across the doors, and then paint it black from there on down. Other than that guys, the lift is doing good. I've kind of messed with it over the past 12 hours or so. When we got it all lifted up, I went in and out of the ditches right here. You guys can see where I drove down into it right over here. It did freaking great. No issues. It's all playing over there in that ditch over there. So I'm very, very stoked to be able to get these tires mounted and get this thing wheeling, because it's going to be a freaking blast. But enough of me running my mouth. Let's set up this camera and alrighty guys, so we are in the shop. You saw the clips there of me welding up the rock sliders. I wanted to throw those in there because it just kind of makes more sense when you guys see all that stuff getting welded up. I've got my cardboard templates behind me. Let me show you guys real quick. These are for obviously the driver's side. This is the rear cap, and then this is my front cap here. And I've got my measurements just marked out to calibrate my drawing in Fusion 360. So there's a ton of videos and stuff that's online that will explain all of this stuff to you. I'm not really going to go into detail. I'm just showing you guys how I'm drawing these guys out. So essentially what I do is I put this photo into Fusion 360, and then from there I calibrate the photo with a measurement that I've taken on one of these cutouts or drawings, and then from there I simply trace it out in my program, and that will give me two separate items, as you guys can see here. So this will just make my life easier when I go to put this into sheet cam, write my G code for it, and then put it out onto the table. Once it's out on the table and it's cut out, I can just grind to fit, and this just makes everything so much easier. So I'm gonna finish out these guys. As you can see, they're almost done. I've got to go ahead and save the drawing, get it into sheet cam, and do my contour lines. And once all of that's squared away, I can write my G code, and we will get to cutting this. And then from there, once we get these guys cut out, hopefully I'll have some time to start working on this. I really want to get the rock sliders capped off and then turn my attention to this, but I was really hoping to get something drawn up today and at least starting to cut material and getting it prepped up, because I want to take the Jeep home this weekend so that way I can continue doing the rest of the work. I also need to weld the diff this weekend because URE is literally like 2.5 weeks away. So I've got a lot to do in a short amount of time, so let's get to it. Alright guys, so as you saw, we've got our drawings in fire control now, and the table is ready to rip. I'm going to do a quick dry run real quick to make sure that my plate positioning is correct. So I've got her on dry run, and we're just checking on this first cut. Now I would let the second cut run, but since my plate is small, I'm going to stop it when it travels over to the second plate that it's supposed to cut, and I'm going to restart my G code at that point in time. So if I click here, it will give me the option, let me turn off my dry run, click here, it will give me the option to run from the line, or if I click here on my actual tie-in, you guys can see where she will start her cut. Right here, I can generate from that line, and now we are cutting just the second one by itself. And if I want to go back to it, I can just, whoop, there we go, both plates. So I'm going to rip out the first one real quick. I'll show you guys that one, and then we'll cut out the second one. And I don't think I'm going to be able to do any welding today because we have a storm moving in, and it's moving in quick. I was hoping I'd be able to get some work done, but what I may end up doing now is just cutting out the plates and then starting to draw up for the actual bumper itself. I'm going to get my dimensions. I've already taken 2 photos of the frame rail, so I may draw those up in CAD. We may go through that process, and I'll make this a multi-part video. But let me shut up, let's get cutting real quick, and we'll move forward. Alright guys, so we are set up for the second cut. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the dry run feature. That's my torch head control system there, but we won't be using that right now because I'm not doing any in-depth cutting right now. We're just cutting a straightforward piece here, but we'll go ahead and hit the start button. Voila. Go ahead and close the program here. Move my torch head. Magnet. There we have it. Let that cool off for just one quick second before I go touching it, and I'll show you guys on the cardboard templates. Alright, as you guys can see, I've got them laid out on my cardboard template. If I just slide them down, we have my caps. I'm going to get these deburred and cleaned up, and then we will turn our attention to drawing the bumper plates on my CAD computer here, or excuse me, the frame rail plates for the bumper. Get those drawn up. I'll show you my process there, and we can try to get some plates cut out today for that. Alright, so that storm definitely hit us good. So while this is drying off, I'm not sure if I'm going to have time to do any work today aside from drawing and maybe doing some cutting on the table, but I'm going to have to do a lot of measuring on the Jeep. go ahead and set up for my CAD work. So my basic idea is on my phone here, you guys can see that I've emailed myself. Sorry, the focus was terrible there. I'm not really good at doing this kind of stuff here. I'm trying to get better about this YouTube thing, dude. I'm so awful. Anyways, pull up Fusion 360. I go ahead and I insert a canvas, and I already have these photos emailed to me. So here is the driver side of the frame. Select that and move the photo over here, and I'll zoom in. It'll make more sense to you guys. So here is the side of my ZJ frame, and what we need to accomplish is making a plate that can sit here on the actual frame rail itself, or the unibody, and something that I can go ahead and put a couple through bolts here on the actual chassis, maybe one here. I'm not quite sure what I'll do with that large hole, but I believe these guys are 1/2 inch, so I'll do some you know, 5/8 holes or something on my plate, get some 1/2 inch hardware, slip them through, and then maybe do another plate on the back side with some nuts. I'm not going to show you guys this whole spiel here, but basically what I do is just I go ahead and first, before I do anything, actually, excuse me, I go to my canvas drop down menu here, and then I go to calibrate, and this will allow me to go to, like, say this hole. I believe the actual hole itself is 1/2 inch, so we'll put that in there and press enter, and then bam, our photo was just scaled off of that one measurement. So in theory, when I do create a 2-point circle, and I come down to that same hole, put the outside edge there, and come down here, it should be, yep, 1/2 inch. So I go through and I select all of those lines, those circles. I'll go through here and do a rough sketch. So we'll say we want to meet back here, come down parallel with this guy, place this out, and we need to figure out from this distance here on the end how far I want to protrude and how I want to do a D-ring setup. Now I'm probably going to be using some 1/4 inch plate to weld this bumper up, along with the actual winch plate that I bought at Harbor Freight. So with all of that, my 1/2 inch plate here, right behind my rack, and this guy should be able to make a decent little stubby bumper that I can mount this guy up to on the front of the Jeep, and will obviously enclose the front. Let me go show you the front of the Jeep real quick, and this will make a little bit more sense, but that is my basic idea on how I'm going to draw these frame plates. And then yeah, we'll step outside and I'll explain a little bit more in detail. Alright, now that we're outside, here's the ZJ. What I need to figure out now is how far I need to come out for the actual winch. So I'm going to go in there, I'm going to measure the distance of that winch plate. That'll give me my overall measurement, a rough estimate, and then I want to come down and make a small curve to where I can mount 2 D-rings. Now I know the 1/4 inch plate, it's probably not the best idea to be pulling or tugging on there with small D-rings, but it's mainly just to hook up my winch, and if worst case scenario I need to be winched out, I can hook 2 straps to the front of it and connect to 1 winch cable, and then yeah, we could be good from there. But basically what I want to do is just come out the length of the actual winch plate, mount the winch just right here in the front. Don't worry about cutting the grill or any of that nonsense. I'll plate the front of it, have a fair lead right here, 2 D-rings on either side, and then with the bender inside the shop, I'll just go ahead and bend up probably just a cheesy like Schedule 40 or Schedule 80 stinger, because I don't really have the money for DOM in the budget right now, because I want to be able to make it all the way up there. Obviously I've got to fuel this thing for $5 a freaking gallon. Absolutely trash, but there's my boss man. You out of here? Alrighty guys, so I apologize about that. That's my boss. He was trying to give me my paycheck, and we had to talk about a few things that are happening tomorrow, because I'm probably going up to Virginia Beach next week for a big contract and a meeting. I had to work this past Sunday, so things have been kind of shambled, and I'm trying to fit all this stuff in before my freaking trip. So anyways guys, enough rambling here. Let me talk to you guys about what I had planned, everything that I was explaining outside on the Jeep. I'll just kind of run you through real quick. This is a rough drawing that I have of a frame plate. All I did was take a photo of the inside of the actual chassis. I showed you guys earlier how I do like my basic stuff with my cardboard. You guys can see here, and adjust the scale here. Go back to my origin. Move this. So what I've done is taken this photo here, and I drew out on the face of it this plate. And then from there I MacGyvered my torch head on my plasma table to do a drawing with a Sharpie, and then I cut those two guys out and I had them laid out right here. I fit this up against the outside of the unibody and it fits good. The holes line up. I'm gonna have to trim along the top side a little bit. It rubs into a spot where it ties in, but this is the basic idea. This is the frame plate, or the winch plate, the universal one from Harbor Freight. This guy will sit here, and you can see my measurement here. This is for the entire width of my Jeep, from this distance to this distance. That's the width of the Jeep there. I just split that difference up and then scribe the line on center for this guy, and that's where I'm going to be cutting. And so just imagine that's cut off and this plate's sitting right here. Well, this will sit roughly in that area. Obviously this is the face of the Jeep. Winch will sit here. This is the unirail of the Jeep. This plate, I cut it too big. I drew it too large in my drawing. Either I have to cut inside of the unirail to get this to fit, or I don't know, I may just weld this to my actual Jeep. I really want to get a kit made so that way I can put it on my website, and anybody that's watching this with a ZJ, you could just buy this winch plate at your local Harbor Freight and buy these two plates for me, and it's something that I could just cut out and send to you, and you can burn it in yourself. Or this is something that I can start you know, producing in-house. I can pick up a couple of these plates and weld these up for you guys, make up a jig and send them out. But either way, what I'm regarding is the inside of the unirail has a little slit, but this won't fit, so I just need to trim this down and make a plate where this can bolt to, so this will sandwich into the unirail. But like I said, for mine, I just may end up welding it. I may get the kit figured out and go from there, but that's the idea of it. Once that's all squared away, that's kind of what I want to do. The rain's been on and off. The sun is back out there, but I'm not sure if I want to go back out there, drag the welder and all of my extension cords and stuff, and then for it to rain again. So I know I'm rambling and I'm talking a lot, but I'm just trying to, you know, come up with the content here to show you guys what's all happening with the Jeep. Let me show you guys real quick on the Fusion 360. Actually, let me just step outside real quick, 1 second. Okay, so we're back outside with the Jeep. This will make a little more sense for some of you guys here. Obviously this would be sitting in these 4 holes right there. See that weld right there, or this overlay where the 2 panels meet? This is why I have to trim this upper plate down. So just think of it as, you know, that not being there. The holes are all lined up there. This guy will extrude there. The D-ring will be hanging where my thumb is, and then the winch plate will sit in here, and I'll probably bolt the back side of the winch plate. I mean, in my case, I'm probably going to weld it, to be 100% honest with you. But if I make it a kit, I'll make it so that you can bolt it to the back side. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make any plates for back there, but you could riv nut that and then place a couple tack welds or something if you wanted to. I don't know how I feel about these 4 bolts holding my winch. Even though they'll be plated through here, all of this will be welded up, and obviously the plate will be over it. I think I'm just going to stick it on here and then burn it in myself as is, and then just make it so that the winch is removable, and just put a small like V plate on the face of it, or like a rock or a skid plate, whatever you want to call it. But this is the inside piece that I was talking about. Either have to cut this open larger, all right here, to get this to fit, or I'm gonna have to make this bracket smaller. But the idea of it was it's supposed to sit down right here, and that was gonna be the sandwich plate that bolts everything too. So that was my game plan, and I know that I'm freaking running my mouth, but I wanted to show you guys that, and hopefully I don't know, the rain's cleared off, so I may pull out the welder, back this thing up, and at least weld these up. These are what the other plates are cut for. Get those burned in there and get those welded into the chassis. I don't know, it's all wet, and may just like cut these pieces out and do this all at the house. I don't know. All right, give me a couple minutes. Let me figure out what I want to do, and then we'll go from there. Okay, guys? So I pulled the Jeep up, and I think I figured out what I'm gonna go ahead and do. After playing with this guy, test fitting this, I'm gonna go ahead and redraw my bumper mounting plate, the little cardboard piece that I have sitting over here on my CNC table. I'm gonna redraw that guy to fit inside of that pinch weld. You guys can see here, I've just got a new little layout real quick, just kind of messing with it to show you guys an example. I'm gonna pull up this file that I saved and try to shrink it down a little bit, and then I'm gonna go ahead and rip it out of this 1/8 inch plate and see how it fits up. And if it fits up nicely, I think I may go ahead and rip it out of the 1/4 inch, 2 plates of them, and then fit that up. And then I can take my winch plate that's laying over here, cut that down in the big bandsaw that's hiding next to Mr. Bear over there. I get the bandsaw out and cut that guy down, and then I may be able to just roll the welder over here to the edge of the dock and disconnect my battery and tack that up, and then sit the winch down in it and see how it fits. That may be my game plan. I don't know if I'm gonna have enough sunlight, but either way, this is what we're gonna end up doing. Whether it becomes 1, 2, or 3-part video, that's what I'll just end up doing. So let me set you guys on a time lapse real quick. I'm gonna redraw this, or at least redo my little first drawing, my first version, and then from there I'll rip one out and see how it fits up, and then we'll go from there.